Hey, welcome back to the stash. Now yes, I may very well be a Spider-Man channel, however one major, and I mean major part of his world of characters I've never taken a proper look at in my videos has to do with a certain drooling monster who I for some reason hear Eminem play whenever he's close by. Venom and the symbiote in general are a massive part of the Spider-Man mythos, and I always found his story really interesting, especially in the way he came about in the first place, whether it's who actually created the entire Venom saga in the original black suit, or him originally meaning to be a woman, or the symbiote's evolution from a ball of goo on Battleworld to one of the most coolest characters in comics. Now, if I'm being completely honest, besides his original Lethal Protector run and a couple after that, I haven't read a single Venom comic that's his own title. In terms of my reading list, he's always been further down in terms of priority, however the recent Venom War story released just the other day, it piqued my interest, especially with the way they handle a certain wall crawler, so I thought, why not give it a go? So join us today as we go over Venom War Issue 1. But before we jump into the story, I just wanted to quickly let you all know that we are trying to reach 3,000 subscribers before the end of the month. I know it's a huge ask, but with your help, I know we can do it. So if you like Spidey or just comic content in general, feel free to stick around and maybe hit that subscribe button. But anyway, with all that being said, let's get straight back into the video. So I think it's right for me to just give us all a quick recap so we can be caught up to speed with the recent Venom events. Years ago, Eddie Brock was a reporter whose career was ruined by the Amazing Spider-Man. He revealed his biggest story to be false. Distraught, Brock contemplated ending his own life, but he found a kindred spirit, an extraterrestrial symbiote that Spider-Man had rejected. Sensing Brock shared its hatred of the Wallcrawler, the creature bonded to him and the two became Venom. Following years of conflict, Venom and Spider-Man became allies and the symbiote found other hosts. More recently, Eddie gained power over all symbiotes as the King in Black, the ruler of their race, while his son Dylan and the symbiote formed their own union, becoming the new Venom. But now the Venom symbiote is missing, believing he has made both Eddie's and Dylan's lives worse. Meanwhile, both Eddie and Dylan have glimpsed unique and terrifying versions of the other's futures if bonded to the Venom symbiote. Dark fates they each will stop at nothing to prevent, even if that means starting a war. Now our story begins at the Grand Garden Arena in New York City. There's a massive event hosted by Symbiote Smith, the current holder of the Unlimited Golden Belt. He's calling for one big free-for-all. If you want the belt, you're gonna have to go and take it from him. Right before the tussle begins, a portal opens up and out comes Eddie Brock accompanied with Wild, Tyro, and Bedlam. Eddie with a swift move breaks his arm and unleashes an all-out brawl. While the Kings in Black make light work of all the contestants, Eddie picks up the microphone and declares his demands. One being his son Dylan Brock and the other being the long-lost Venom symbiote. Now for this next part, I just feel like it's best if I read the dialogue from the symbiote in its purest form. My earliest memory. I had gone against my king, broke from my people. I was a weak link in the chain of endless cage. I was unique. But the concept of self was new and hard to grasp. I was vulnerable to manipulation. The memories are only flashes. But for the first time, I had a host. A sentient host. His name was Telkar, and together, we were soldiers in war. That was the first thing I ever really knew. The war. Telkar was not a true host. He damaged and controlled me. He forced me to do bad things. And after that, I did more bad things. Things I do not remember or want to remember. I was bad. Bad inside. But then came my second memory. A memory of another war. Another soldier. I touched a mind after so long in darkness, and such a mind. Compassion that shone like sunlight, responsibility that stood like stone, a gnawing guilt that demanded all lives to be saved. I did not know what a saint was. Yet, surely, this was a saint. Saint Peter. Not bad, he said. I was not bad. I would have done anything for him. So I did everything for him. I took on his war, his mission. Even while he slept, I piloted his body to better protect his kind. I wanted to be with him forever. And in the place of saints, he tried to destroy me. He said he would rather die than bond with me, yet I still saved his life even after that. I still wore his symbol. I still fought his war. The war against death itself. That's why I came to Eddie. He thought he was bad inside. He was dying, poisoned by shame and self-hate. Not by cancer. I made that up to make him stay. I know that was bad. Bad thing. But I heard him that night. I had a responsibility to save his life. That was why I chose him to bond with. That was why. Wasn't it? Eddie needed me. We needed each other. And if that meant declaring a new war, a war on the holy Saint Peter, Eddie's life would still be saved. That's all I wanted. To do a good thing. I didn't want to kill Peter and devour his brain tissue. I'm certain of that. But it all got so complicated. There were many hosts after that. Anne was first. I helped her kill and it killed her. There was Angelo Fortunato who wanted to be a soldier for the Mafia. Mac Gargan, a soldier in a war on heroes. Flash Thompson, who taught me what a soldier could be. Who fought in the wars of the Space Knights with me. Lee Price, another soldier, who I destroyed. As I destroyed Flash, and Mac, and Angelo, and Anne, and Eddie, and Dylan? Have I destroyed Dylan yet? Dylan, my child. He wanted me to be his soldier, to fight his war, to fight death, to save lives, but I couldn't save Eddie in the end. I couldn't save Dylan. I can't save anybody. I am not a symbiote, but a parasite. I destroy my host. Now I am hiding here, in Peter's closet. The place I once felt useful, wanted, safe. I am hanging with shirts and socks and other costumes. Simple dead things of spandex and cloth who do not think or feel or judge me. I am waiting to be dead like them. I have always been a thing of war, and like war I leave scars, and scars are left on me. Too many. Meridius told me that Dylan was alive, that Eddie was coming back, but I don't know if I can believe him. Because I destroy my host. I destroy those I love. So I'm here, in the home of one host who'd never bond with me, who I would never bond with, hidden with the other empty suits, waiting for death. Or for the hand of fate. Then as Peter puts on his top, he's greeted with one shocking surprise. Elsewhere underneath the city streets, Dylan Brock seems to have some unusual company. He's been having a long mental battle after finding out recently the true horrors the Venom symbiote has committed, especially the ones involving his dad. When thought dead, Dylan met the eventuality. The eventuality granted him 5 questions. During this, he found out the true horrors that would unfold if he went back to his father. He proceeded to ask how does he stop someone like that? The eventuality coldly responds with, "You'll know when you're older." We've returned back to the present where he's finished telling his story. It turns out he's talking to himself, but from the future. They both go back and forth for a while deciding what needs to be done and how to do it. His future self is about to warn Dylan for the symbiote he needs to watch out for, but just before he's able to finish the sentence, he must disappear before Riot sees him, leaving Brock even more worried than he was before. Riot informs Dylan his dad's on TV. As the team gathers around the screen, they express doubts within their leader. Venom was the one who created this group, but Dylan and that symbiote have been parted for a while now. He makes the good and simple point that as of now, Dylan is just a kid. What chance does he really have against someone like Eddie? Later we go to Alchemax, and they've also recently acquired the Life Foundation and have gone into the symbiote business. Now, because of this, Liz has called an emergency meeting to go over the recent events taking place within this issue. Things have gone pretty haywire, but Carlton Drake seems to have a trick or two up his sleeve. He calls in Mr. Meredith, who looks oddly like Eddie. He's discovered a secret ingredient called Chemical K44, a chemical which could win them the entire Venom War. In Peter's room, we join back in right after the Venom symbiote has finished catching him up on everything that's been happening, as well as why he must keep his distance from Eddie and Dylan. The symbiote is convinced that they're both better off without him in their lives. He's been used and abused all through his life, to the point where he genuinely believes he's only been able to destroy whatever goes through his path. It'd be nice if it were true, wouldn't it? It'd make things easy. Trouble is, I've seen you do the right thing. I saw Flash make you a hero, I saw you and Eddie save the world, so you don't have the excuse anymore. You're not some mindless monster. You're not so alien you don't know what good is. If you ever were, you've learned. So now you're stuck with the choice. Do good things, do bad things. Even doing nothing is a choice. And it sucks, obviously. Nobody asked for this. But the price of living is choosing how to live. Every day, every moment we're alive. That's the only power any of us have. And power comes with responsibility. My uncle taught me that. And we can't turn away from it. We can't turn away from the choices we've made. Can we, pal? Later on, Dylan and his group of symbiotes sneak into the arena where they confront Eddie and his Kings in Black. Eddie believes the battle is half won. All he now needs is Venom. Dylan says he can't give Venom to him. His dad warns him of the future the world will face if he stays within his son's possession. Dylan informs him though that Venom is nowhere to be found since they parted ways, as well as the fact that he told him everything that he and Eddie did that he never wanted him to find out about. And then our story ends with the amazing Spider-Man returning once again donning the Venom symbiote. Now, as someone who hasn't had much experience within Venom's own world besides his appearances within Spider-Man comics, I gotta say I really enjoyed this book for the most part. I haven't seen Eddie in a while, so reading him in this state was a bit of a surprise, but I'm excited for next issue and how they handle the confrontation with Spider-Man. I've always loved their battles and their team-ups, especially from the 90s when they formed that sort of deal between the two of them. Now, Spider-Man for me within the few pages he was in absolutely shined. It's funny in a way because this issue continues the theme of Peter being written well and showing a form of growth within every title except ASM. I'm not sure how or why it's like that, but I was just so happy to see Peter and the Venom symbiote finally show a form of progression with each other. I really adore how Saint Peter actually talks some sense into the Venom symbiote, as well as how he grew to learn that the symbiote changed and evolved so much where they can actually have a good conversation with one another. Also, with Pete saying Venom's in good hands now at the end, I can see his angle. By that I mean he sees the symbiote right now as someone who really needs a guiding hand, and of course he has a sense of responsibility for him considering he brought him to Earth in the first place. Therefore he's just willing to fight for Venom as he believes that he'd be able to help him the best at this moment. I mean, I've already mentioned it, but it's just a great little show of growth within the character that we haven't really seen in ASM for so long. I really appreciate the extra mile they went within this series to include Peter and to actually help his character out a lot. I'm just so happily surprised with his depiction of Peter in this issue. It's the best characterization I've read of him in years when it comes to the Big 616. But even if we want to go past that, this in many ways is the perfect start to a new era for Peter. Hell, it even started him off right back at the beginning in a wrestling ring. But one complaint which I have with pretty much every modern Spidey series though is that there's no sense of actual continuity within the titles, and unfortunately there's been no effort once again here. It's just doing its own thing, and the same goes for the other titles that they're releasing at this moment. This book didn't even need to have anything as long as ASM would actually put a slither of effort into its storytelling, but even something like a piece of text saying Pete just got home from the events of whatever issue they felt like putting in would have gone a very long way in my opinion. Another one of my very few complaints within this issue was the attempt at retconning the true intentions of the early days of Venom. We all know back when he bursted onto the scene that one thing was for certain: Venom hated Spider-Man. Hell, who remembers when they thought they killed Spider-Man and were living peacefully on that island? That doesn't really look like two people guilty over their actions to me. I've heard some people say that the symbiote could be lying and is just too afraid to admit to themselves what truly happened due to his guilt and feeling of being ashamed at his actions, which could work since the symbiote seems to be in a very emotional state right now, but I guess I'll have to wait and see if they add upon that attempt at a retcon in a later issue. I wanted to quickly also mention that Ivan Coolio absolutely killed it when it came to the artwork. This is my introduction to his work, I believe, but nonetheless he nails each panel he drew. I'm a major fan of his ability to recreate images of the past, whether it was Secret Wars or ASM issue 299. He perfectly captured the imagery and gave it a great dynamic look. Plus, his Spider-Man f***ing rocks too. Overall, this was a great first issue to Venom War, and it definitely got me hooked and really interested in the world of Venom, so much so that to the point where he's going up on my list of characters to read next once I eventually finish reading Old Hornhead. But before I forget, I also just love the cameo by the Crusher within the arena. I thought it was just a sweet little touch to have him be one of the commentators. And, you know, the artwork was fantastic, the story for the most part was very solid, the characters seemed to be well respected, and this book even gave Spider-Man a moment to shine in ways we haven't seen in a very, very long time. But that is it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because here, any support means so much. I'd love to hear what you thought of this issue down below in the comment section. We can start a conversation. Be sure to tune in next time, same web time, same web channel. Thank you guys again for watching, and see you in the next one.